How are the bodies? How are the bodies?
Mine's good. Same as you. Pretty good. Just tight. I wish I had more ease in my body for some reason. You know, my hips and stuff. But
oh yeah,
I'm working there. We're heading that way.
Do you get to move a little bit every day?
Yeah.
Like just even range of motion stuff?
Yeah, I do a little bit of something every day, you know. Even if it's just 10 minutes on the mat here, I do something, but
Okay.
yeah.
All right, maybe we'll start with just a little range of motion stuff.
That's always good.
Yeah.
It's simple, but it's good. Because we forget, we forget that we're kind of, I don't know about you, but I tend to move very linearly unless it's asked of me. And I don't usually ask it of me unless I'm doing yoga or something.
Mm-hmm.
That makes, yeah, because we're focused on the goal.
Yeah, and there's just not a lot of movement in our lives, right? We're not complex movers. How often do you sit on the floor? Like that's much more complex than sitting in a chair. Right, chairs are they simplify all of our movements. Right, we don't bend the hips or knees or ankles as much as when you sit on the floor.
That's true.
Right, so we sit in cars, we sit in chairs, we sit on couches. So we just simplify our movements. I think it's just part of our culture.
True.
Making it comfy. What?
Yeah, we think that's comfortable.
Too much comfort. Too much comfort.
Some stuff is painful.
I know. Well, that's why I like Katie Bowman. She's like, put your dishes on the bottom shelf. So you have to squat and get on your knees to find things every day. Like chop your vegetables on the floor.
What?
Get on your hands and knees, wash the floor. She's like, use your body. All the comfort is making you sick. So she has a point. All right. Okay, I'm gonna pin and mute. And we'll just do range of motion stuff to start. Actually, we'll start seated. So let's sit in Virasana, because again, it's just a different way of bending the hips, the knees, the feet. So you can use your blocks or a blanket. Right, so heels separated, so whatever you're sitting on is between your feet, and letting whatever you're sitting on just start under your sitting bones so that your thighs can settle. And the spine, right, is able to elongate. Right, sometimes the spine or the pelvis, or pelvis and spine, feels a little more neutral in this leg position. Good, palms up or palms down, just notice the difference. Closing your eyes. Aware of your breath. Good, as you exhale, see if you can finish the exhale. Complete the exhale, pressing the breath out. And as you inhale, let the breath find the base of the pelvis. The bowl of the pelvis. And just continuing with the breath. So every exhale, a sense of movement or completion. emptying, shrinking. Inhale, find base of pelvis, finding sacrum, sitting bones, hip joints, frontal hip bones, lower back, sides of waist, and really feeling the ribs move. And as you exhale, that shrinking of the rib cage, the waist, the belly. And again, inhaling. Again, a little diversity in movement. So again, we don't often, sometimes when we're moving or thinking, the breath gets very shallow. So exploring how much movement you can find, and it doesn't have to be very dynamic, or it can be very dynamic, or it can be expansive and soft. And after your next exhale, let's actually take the arms out to the side. So as you inhale, the arms rise up. And letting your inhale follow the movement. So keep inhaling, especially into those upper ribs. And then exhale, the arms down. Again, completing that exhale, feeling the ribs settle down towards the floor and in towards the spine. And again, inhale. Feeling the breath drop and fill and widen and expand the pelvis, the waist, the ribs, lower ribs, middle, upper, right, tops of shoulders, and exhale. Last time on your own, right? So your cadence of breath. So if your breath is shorter or longer, listen, follow. Then palms together in front of your heart. Good. So one more, just slight variation in the breath after you exhale. Again, inhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pause. Right, suspending the breath. Maybe there's a little flow of breath in or out. Very little. And then exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Suspend the breath out. Again, very little movement of the breath. Inhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause again, suspend. And exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Suspend the breath out. There may be movement of breath in or out, but much slower, much smaller. And then relax the breath. Notice if the body is a little more receptive to the breath or if there's just more movement. And then after your next exhale, let's inhale for an Om. Okay, so let's just start with a simple hands on the tops of your thighs, and we're just going to fold forward. Right, so the pelvis starts to fold over the thigh. Let's move towards the floor. And then hands forward for a moment with the hip drop. Good, and then either walk the hands in or slide the hands in, slightly rounded back to come up. Okay, and then we'll just start with the hands. So just letting the fingers stretch. I'm just kind of fanning them open and closed. Little sea anemone. Good, and then reaching the hands open, and then bring little finger and thumb together and open, and ring finger and thumb together and open, middle finger and thumb together and open, pointer finger and thumb together and open. Good, all the fingers in. Wrap the thumb around the fingers and let your fist pull down towards the floor. And then maybe make little circles with your fist. Good, and then stretch the fingers open again. Maybe make a big sweeping circle one direction, and then big sweeping circle the other direction. Good, and then again, point your finger and thumb together and open away from each other. And then middle finger and thumb together and away. And ring finger and thumb together and away from each other. And little finger and thumb together and away from each other. And then this time, take the thumb and bring it all the way across to the base of the little finger. And then open. And then again to the little finger. And open. And then to the ring finger. And open. And to the middle finger. And open. So just the thumb is moving. And to the pointer finger. And open. And then take the thumb all the way across again to the base of the little finger, and then wrap your fingers around the thumb. And again, pull the fist down towards the floor. And then up and back towards the floor, over the back side. And then big circles, or as much range of motion as you have. Change direction. And then again, open the fingers. And then change direction, sweeping the hands. Good. And shake it out. Okay, let's change position with the legs. So come forward, taking that blanket out. Let's curl the toes under and sit back on your toes. So you can always use the blanket, right, to put your feet against, just to minimize the stretch in the toes. You can use that for part and then take it out and try for more. Good. Okay, so keeping your upper arm pretty still, I'm going to take forearm, right range of motion. So palm up and down and up and down and up and down. And soft hand and more clear, wide, open hand. And then maybe, again, make a fist, thumb in, fingers around, and up and down. And then sweeping fingers, up and down, up and down. Good, other side. So I'm just going to change. So keeping the upper arm still, palm up and down, and up and down, and up and down. Soft hand. Good, and more dynamic or fully stretched hand. Good, thumb comes across, fingers wrap around. Soft fist. Up and down, palm up and down, up and down. And then just sweeping hand for a moment. And then palm up, palm down, palm up, palm down, palm up, palm down. Good, one more, right? Fingers stretch forward, curl the fingers in towards the palm. Again, pull the palms down or the fist down towards the floor, and then just little sweep right and left and right and left and right and left. And fingers down towards the floor, wiggle the fingers, scoop the fingers up so the palms are facing forward, reach through the hands, wiggle the fingers, and then curl the fingers in, make fists again. And maybe with the fists up, palms facing forward, just sweep right and left, or out and in. Good. And then palms down, just shake them out. Okay, toes, back to the toes. So point the toes back. So now knees together, feet together. Good. And let's take shoulders up towards the ears and down towards the hips. And up and down and up and down and up and down. And now forward, straight forward to the wall in front of you, and straight back. And forward and back, forward, back, forward. Just feel how they're different range of motion. And then let's take the arms or shoulders up towards the ears, back, down, forward, up, back, down, forward. And then change directions, down, back, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and then pull them up towards the ears, and then squeeze them towards the breastbone in front of you and down towards the floor. One more time, back and up and forward and down. And then take the right shoulder blade up and the left shoulder blade down. And then the opposite, left shoulder blade up, right shoulder blade down. And opposite again, right arm up, right shoulder up, right shoulder down. And then I'm going to take that right arm forward and down and back and up and forward and down. Just the right arm. And pause. And I'm going to take the left arm and the opposite, right? So up, back, down, forward, up, back, down, forward. And then just see if you can do, I know this is not so easy, but take right shoulder up, left shoulder down. See if I can even do this. Right shoulder forward, left shoulder back, left shoulder up, right shoulder down, right, left shoulder forward, right shoulder back. So you get this kind of oppositional circle, one moving in opposition to the other. And then let's change direction. So left shoulder up, right shoulder down. It's very confusing for the mind, which is good because it's actually stretching the mind as well as stretching the body. Okay, let's see if I can do this. So left side is moving back, right side is still moving forward. Okay, so, or let's switch. So left shoulder back, back and down and forward and up and back and down and forward and up. And then pause that, right side, up and forward. I think we already did this before. And down, and back, and up and forward, and down and back. And then again, let's do left up, right down. So the left one's gonna move forward and the right one's gonna move back. Left shoulder forward, right shoulder back, left shoulder down, right shoulder up. Left shoulder back, right shoulder forward, left shoulder up, right shoulder down. Do one more on your own. You already started the motion. Good. And then one just simple, both up and back and down and forward, and then switch back. Squeeze them both back and then up, slightly forward, pull them down. Good. Feel that, hopefully, in the neck, and then squeeze them back again. Okay, come forward again, toes under. Oh, one more time. Good. Just palms up towards the ceiling, palms down towards the floor. Good. External, internal, external, internal, external, internal. Let's start to straighten the arms. External, internal, external, internal. Feeling the shoulders get involved. External, chest can lift, shoulder blades squeeze together behind. Internal, shoulder blades can lift, head can drop forward, back and round. Right, so involving the shoulders and the spine, right, a little more extension or back bend as the arms externally rotate, as they internally rotate, more of a rounded back. One more, external extension, internal flexion. And then more neutral in the spine, just a few, right palm up. Let's turn the head, look towards the right palm, left palm turns down. And switch, so head comes to center and then turns towards the other side, looking at that left palm facing up, right palm is now down. And slowly switch back and forth, right, looking at the hand that the palm is facing up and the hand that's behind you or you can't see, the palm is down. You can start just by rotating the arm in the shoulder socket, and then you can play with getting more action in the shoulder as the neck is turning. Last one on each side. And then hands forward, uncurl the toes. Let's just take the knees wide for a moment, toes together. Hands forward, child's pose. Letting your breath lengthen. Again, exploring where the breath moves in your body, and can you explore where it's not moving that easily. Right, whether it's not moving as easily into the pelvis or maybe even to one side, maybe one shoulder or one side of the ribs. Good. And then push up onto hands and knees again. Good. Toes pointed back, palms under shoulders, knees under hips. Good. Just simple. Squeeze shoulder blades together. Right, so spine is somewhat neutral. Right, I'm not going for a big cow shape or a rounded shape. Somewhat neutral for your body. Squeezing shoulder blades together and then spreading shoulder blades apart. And squeeze and spread. Feeling the weight through the entirety of the hand. Squeeze and spread. Just changing the hand position. So fingertips out towards the side of the room. Good, one of those. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, ribs come closer to the floor. And then spread shoulder blades apart. And just shifting right and left and right and left. And then let's turn the hands all the way, or internally rotate. So the fingertips now point towards each other. Good, and again, squeeze shoulder blades together and spread shoulder blades apart. And squeeze, and spread, and squeeze, and spread. Okay, last direction. Let's turn the hand around again the other way. So now the fingers, let's do one hand at a time. Right hand is turned back, so fingers are pointed towards the knee. And let's turn the left hand to face forward, right? So they're doing different directions. And then from here, squeezing shoulder blades together and spreading shoulder blades apart. And as you squeeze the shoulder blades together, feel that left shoulder blade almost kind of pull more in towards the spine. There's more access to that, and there's a little bit of a side bend to the left. And then as you spread the shoulder blades apart, you can even take that left shoulder towards the ear, little side bend to the right. Feel that right shoulder blade pull towards the hip. And then again, squeeze, little side bend to the left. Spread, little side bend to the right. One more, squeeze and spread. Good, right hand forward, left fingers point back. And same thing, right? Squeeze the shoulder blades together. And if you do, just feel how the body just naturally kind of side bends to the right. And as then you push shoulder blades together, push into the hands, the body just naturally turns to the left. And then squeeze, little side bend right, spread shoulder blades, little side bend left, squeeze, and spread. And then coming back to center, let's just do a little pushing up onto the ball of the hand, or the finger pads, sorry, and then roll to the ball and to the heel. So more weight on the knees. Your knees are definitely a little closer, so more weight is in your legs. And just kind of peel the heel of the hand, the ball of the hand, up onto the fingers, and then down onto the ball, stretching the fingers and the webbings, and laying the heel of the hand down. One more time, just slowly roll up. Kind of stretching the hand as you roll. And then rolling down. And then flipping right hand over, back of the hand on the floor. And flip, and left hand, back of the hand on the floor. Fingernails, thumbnail on the floor. And flip one more time, right side. And maybe let's do both together, left and right. Again, your weight's mostly on your knees. You can even just shift forward and back slightly. Maybe even right and left slightly. Shoulders towards your ears because they want to do that anyway. And then down towards the hips. Good. And then just sit back towards your heels. You can keep your hands there, just feeling that stretch. And then peel them up. Okay. And then let's actually come up to stand. I was going to do this on the floor, but let's do a couple standing. Okay, so let's actually do this on either on your carpet or taking your blanket on your sticky mat, just so there's some cushion. Okay. And then little toe roll. So I'm just going to roll around the tops of the toes. Right around from big toe to little toe. Getting the toes and the ankle, the knee, and the hip. And then changing direction. Just rolling across the tops of the toes. Just fluid and light. Good. Again, just getting a little rotation in the hips as well. Okay, change direction, or change foot rather. Again, just rolling across the tops of the toes. So you should feel that stretch across the top of the toes, the top of the foot, the front of the ankle, right? Feeling that movement of the knee and the hip. And then changing direction. Good. And just really getting some movement through all of those joints. Good. And then step for a moment. And let's just do simple, like taking one foot back, top of the foot on the floor. Putting a little press mean, ideally, eventually we want to work to have as much weight on the right foot as the left, but we work up towards that. And then maybe even rolling towards the little toe side of the foot, the outer foot, and then across towards the big toe side of the foot, inner ankle, and slowly across. There's lots of interesting sensations along the way. Little toe, outer foot, outer ankle. I feel it all the way up the outer lower leg. And then back to the inner foot, inner ankle. Good, and release. And other side. So left toes under, or the opposite leg than you did. Again, rolling towards the little toe, the outer foot, outer ankle. Making sure you're able to spread the foot that you were just using. So you don't have to use a lot of force through the whole leg. You can actually just widen and spread into the foot. And then roll towards the inner edge of that back foot. Inner ankle, top of big toe. And rolling across. Get all those little toes in the middle. Towards the outer, towards the little toe, right? I have quite a few hammer toes, right? They kind of elevate, they lift slightly off the floor when I'm standing. Or want to lift off the floor, and then back to neutral or across all the toes towards the big toe. And then one more time. Again, hopefully, ideally feeling a little up into the top of the foot, even more, maybe towards the ankle. Outer ankle, little toe, and then last time across towards the big toe. And then step forward. Good, and just bending your knees and straighten and bend and straighten and bend. So let's take knees together, feet together, and bend again, and little circles. Knees around the feet. Just feeling how the weight needs to shift throughout the foot. Right, but the foot is quite an adaptable structure and sometimes loses its adaptability. So we're just kind of asking more from it, more weight on the outer and inner edges, rolling through the center. Good. And then come back to center. Okay. So let's actually play with just a little. So spine nice and long, bending, right, bending at the knees. So you should also feel it, the back of the lower leg, the front of the ankle, and then straighten the leg and then lift the heel slightly and lower and bend and straighten and lift and lower and bend and straighten. You can always have a finger on a wall, lift and lower, bend and straighten, and noticing where does your weight fall in your foot. Can you play with, I'm going to focus on big toes coming up that time, and big toes as I bend, or more weight on little toes as I lift and lower, and little toes as I bend. And then pause. I'm going to just turn the feet out a little, right? So heels are together, toes are out. Same thing, bend, feeling what's happening. Both legs feel very different, stretches in different places, and straighten. And then again, I'm just going to lift a little and lower and bend and straighten. Lift, lower, bend and straighten. Different rotation in the hip, lower, bend, straighten. Again, I'm just watching. I'm watching where the weight is going in the foot. And then maybe playing with, I'm going to focus on big toes as I come up and lower and bend. Maybe one more time. Big toes. And then maybe little toes. Lift, lower, bend. Again, little toes, lift, lower, and bend. And one more time, just not noticing, right? I tend to drop onto a certain kind of second and third toe. That's my normal. And pause. Just asking for difference, variety. Okay, so now toe slightly in and bend a little. You can even separate the feet a little. Bend and straighten and lift and lower and bend, straighten, lift, lower, bend, straighten, lift, lower. Again, noticing where the weight drops or moves in the foot. And then I'm just going to play with asking for more clear direction. Big toes as I lift, lower, bend. And again, big toes, lift, lower, bend. Little toes, lift, lower, bend, straighten. Little toes, lower, bend, straighten. Good. So standing, so it's harder to balance on squishy surface, so you can always stand on a harder surface. Just picking one leg up. Right, so legs pretty much parallel to start. I'm just going to do big circle, one direction, and big circle, other direction. And then maybe take the leg out to the side, big circle, one direction, and big circle, another direction. And knees together, feet together. Other leg, lift the knee, balanced on one foot, big circle at the ankle, sweeping the toes just like you did the fingers. Change direction. Take the knee out to the side. Big sweeping circles. Toes are involved, the whole foot. Slow down if you need to feel that. Whoop. And then knees together, feet together. Okay, so just one or two of these, and then I'll come down to the floor. So I'm just gonna, little circles on the floor. I'm just gonna sweep. And again, sometimes this is easier off the sticky mat or maybe on the blanket, on carpet. So just tiny circles. I'm just gonna take the right foot and trace it around the left foot. So I'm getting a little internal rotation and external rotation. Internal and external, almost like a figure 8, going forward and out, and forward and out, internal, external, knee in towards the left, out towards the right. Just tracing along the floor. Good, 2 more, and then feet together. Other side, little figure 8, internally rotate, externally, internally, knee comes across and then out. Knee across the opposite knee and then out away. In and out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. You can do arms out to the side. That helps balance. And then come back to neutral. Good, and one more. I just like this one because it's kind of fun. It's just fun. So same. It's a big deal. Little space behind. Same, but I do in, I'm gonna go in front of the foot and then out, and then I'm gonna come behind the foot, right? So there's a little swoop in front and then a swoop behind, or you can make it almost like a circle around. Let's do it that way. Around, right leg tracing around the left leg. And arms out to the side. Or a finger on a wall. Good. One more. And then center. Okay, other side. Right, so a little, start crossing around. So I'm trying to make a big circle around that right foot, getting the internal, external, internal, external. And just tracing around, going slowly, going quickly, feeling the movement in the hips. Maybe the hips swivel with the leg. Maybe they stay a little more steady. Notice the standing foot, toes, and knee. And we're asking lots of different things of both legs. One more. And then center. Yay. Okay. And then let's come back to the floor. I should leave my sticky mat there for a moment. So we'll do a couple slower ones. Right, we just did a little preparation with the hips. Right, we did a lot, actually, so feet wide. And again, we're just gonna, so as I drop the knees to the right, one leg is externally rotating, the right leg, one leg's internally rotating. Letting both knees settle towards the floor. And then center and over to the other side. Right, internal rotation is generally harder because we do it less. That doesn't mean that external is always easy either. I'm just trying to find both. Just switching back and forth a little. And center. And right. And center. It doesn't matter which direction you're on. One more time each side. Good. And then I'm going to bring my knees to the right. And I'm going to let both feet point. And I'm just going to draw the feet closer to the body. And then come up to sit. So if you're, right, the leg that's externally rotated, again, because that's easier, that hip is usually on the floor. So if the other hip, right, the leg that is bent behind and internally rotated, if that hip is higher, you can either settle it towards the floor or put a blanket under both hips if it feels really awkward in the sacrum. And then maybe just play with kind of shifting onto that right sitting bone, lifting the left, and then dropping the left sitting bone and just get the thought of lifting the right, which is probably not going to happen, but you're just going to think about it. And then one more time shifting, right? Maybe a little rotation happens, right? I'm going to turn towards that right leg as that left hip lifts. Maybe left hand comes towards that right thigh. Look over the right shoulder. And then as the left hip comes down, I'm still going to look over that left shoulder, at least for the first part. And then come back to center. And this time I'm going to bring left hand behind, right hand towards that left thigh, and turn and look over left shoulder. So that's going to help me put more weight down into that left sitting bone. You can even feel the back of that left hip sink towards the floor. Good, and one more time to the right. Lifting that left hip, turning, looking over the right shoulder. And then left hip comes down first. Left hip drops, still looking over the right shoulder. And then untwist the torso, let the torso follow. Left hip drops, right hand comes to that left leg. Look over that left shoulder. Right thigh is heavy. Right sitting bone heavy, right foot heavy. And then one more time. As I come to the right, the left hip lifts. Eyes turn to the right. Ribs turn to the right. Good. So again, feeling some weight, even though the left hip is up, maybe put a little weight into the top of that left foot. press into that foot and let that help not only open the front of that left hip, but turn the pelvis and the ribs even more. And then slowly start to settle the left hip. Eyes still looking over the right shoulder. And then let the ribs trace back. Right hand, left leg. Now left sitting bone is heavy, and using the right leg, the right foot, the right shin, the right thigh, press into the floor to help you turn through the upper torso to the left. Good, and then come back to center. And let's just walk the hands forward. So my belly is coming out past my right foot. So I'm almost between the two knees. And just come forward and say hello to the floor for a moment. Come back up. I do two more, right? Just like a little undulation. Coming down almost through a back bend, chest leading, and rounding up. Good, last time. Good, and then let both knees come back up to center. Stretch the legs forward for a moment. And bend, and then both knees to the other direction. And again, feet close to the body. Knees are pretty wide. And again, the leg that's externally rotated is usually has a harder time. Uh-oh. Did I lose you guys for a second? Okay. All right. So we're just, can you guys hear me now? Are you still, or am I frozen still? You're okay? Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna shift onto the left sitting bone and then right sitting bone. So it's easy to lift that right one as I shift to the left. Harder to lift the left one, but I'm gonna try to drop that right one and lift the left one. Just a thought. And then again, shift left and shift right. And just feel how the legs can get involved a little bit. Okay, so this time I'm going to turn my ribs towards my left leg. The right hip will come up and follow. The eyes are going to turn and look over that left shoulder. And play with using the feet and the shins. Again, putting a little weight into that back foot, that right foot, as the right hip lifts, turn and look over the left shoulder. And then slowly settle that right hip back towards the floor as you're looking left. And then let that untwist you back to center and then over to the other side. Left hand finds that outer right leg and turn. So now it's easier to put a little weight onto that right hip. As you turn, look over the right shoulder. Again, putting a little weight into that left thigh to help you turn to the right. Left thigh and shin and foot. And then release. Again, as I start to turn, I'm going to use my right leg to help me. I'm pressing into the kind of inner thigh, top of the shin, top of the foot to turn me to the left. Right, and that right hip follows. There's a little opening in the top of the thigh, front of the hip, inner thigh. Looking over that left shoulder, keeping that as that right hip comes towards the floor. And then let the upper body unwind and turn towards the right. Again, putting weight down into that left outer thigh and shin and foot as I turn to the right. And then one more time to the left. So as I press into the right foot, the right hip lifts, the ribs turn to the left, looking left. And then letting that right sitting bone come back towards the floor. So there's that kind of elongating of that right back hip, outer hip. You even feel it into the inner thigh. And then the spine follows and turns to the right. Look over the right shoulder. Left thigh gets heavy now. Now I feel more left inner thigh. Left foot is heavy. And back to center. Good, lean back, lift the knees up, feet forward. Good, and stay leaning back. And you can just roll the feet out and in, out and in, out and in. Okay. All right, so let's come on to our backs. Okay, so maybe have your 2 blocks handy. Oh no, where are the 2 blocks? Okay. Okay, so knees are bent, feet are flat on the floor. And I'm just going to take my feet together, and I'm just going to take my blocks to the outer hips, or outer hips and lower legs. So I'm catching the outer, I guess it's outer thigh and outer lower leg on the block, right? So taking the blocks out as far as you need, so you feel supported. You're getting a little bit of an opening on the inner legs, but you feel your weight supported. And then again, just letting your breath find base of pelvis and that tissue, the inner thighs. Good. Hands on your, maybe even belly for a moment, just to feel your breath, just to feel the movement of your breath in your body. And as you elongate your breath, as you lengthen your breath, feel that with your hands. Feel that with your body. Right, as if you could feel the movement of your inhale transfer down into your legs. Good, just gently lift your knees up. You can use your hands if you'd like. Let's take the feet wide and let the knees come together. All right, so feet can be pretty wide. And so you get a nice internal rotation. And if your knees aren't touching, you can either walk your feet close together so your knees are touching, or you can just let your legs sink towards each other. And maybe your hand's on a different part of your body, or one hand lower, one hand kind of mid ribs, or mid torso or high ribs. Again, just to get a sense of how the breath moves the body. Right, the breath becomes that interface between energy and form. And maybe the next closest link is the nervous system. Right, all sensation being nervous system. And again, that longer, slower breath. Good. And then let's take one of the blocks between the feet. Right, so you're just gonna hold the block with your feet and let the knees move out to the side. So I have the block wide, and if that feels too wide, you can turn the block and make it narrower. And again, just a few breaths here, hands on your body, just feeling the movement of the breath. And feeling your body start to soften, to respond to being on the floor, to feeling gravity. Good. Gently bring the knees back up together. Right, so feet are slightly wide, knees together. And then just a simple, we didn't do very much with the neck, we did a little, but I'm just gonna think about my nose. And if you're on a sticky mat, it's harder, and that's fine. You can just make the circles really small, but I'm just gonna play with letting my nose draw a little circle on the ceiling. And play with those micro movements. Because we use the head and neck so much, right, they respond to the eyes all day. From the moment we open our eyes. Eyes can even be closed for this. But really slow, 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 small circles. Again, feeling the muscles that are creating the movement engage as small as possible or as little as possible. And then change direction. Again, just softening any extra effort, any extraneous movement. Just simplify and soften. Cheeks, back of neck, sides of neck, jaw. And come back to center. And small, small movement. So last time with the blocks, you can step your feet on the blocks. You can use 2 blocks. You can use 1 or 2 blocks. Stack your feet on top and take feet together, knees apart. Just a more gentle or different inner thigh experience. And then let's let the head just slowly roll to the right. Again, the head stays heavy, the shoulders stay heavy, the arms. Maybe even let the breath initiate the roll. Right? As you inhale, Feel how it's easier to initiate, or it's easier to find the movement. Good, and then slowly, slowly back to center. Again, letting the inhale help, so there's very little extra effort. It's just a different kind of effort. You're almost riding on that. If you feel the rise and the fall of breath, you're almost riding on that rise or the fall to create the movement. Moving through center and towards the left. And softening and softening. Even the legs softening. And then slowly back towards center. And draw the knees together, feet on the floor. This last really simple thing. We haven't focused on the spine very much. The spine has been kind of part of the ride, but I'm just going to play with little teeny tiny movements. Maybe just a sense of right hip drawing up towards right shoulder, right ear towards right shoulder, just a little side bend on the right side. Very, very tiny, very slow and small. And release, come back to center, and then just that gentle left hip up towards the left shoulder, left ear towards the left shoulder. It's like a little baby, teeny, teeny side bend. Almost like you're winking. Like you're winking on the right side of the body. And release, and that little wink on the left side. And that's center. And then maybe just a couple, right? Anterior tilt, like rolling the weight towards the sitting bones, feeling the spine just peel off the floor slightly. And then rolling the weight back up the sacrum. Lower back sinks into the floor, ribs sink into the floor. And then as you inhale, and there's a little baby arch, just letting the neck follow. Right, mine wants to chin drop towards the chest. And then as I lay the sacrum down, and the lower back comes down and the ribs lift, the chin just slightly lifts. Again, just play with what your body finds. Last one, baby, baby, baby arch and tuck, baby cat and cow. And then come back to center, maybe just a little wiggle, wiggle, wiggle through the whole body. Just feeling everything wiggle. And then when you're ready, just straighten your legs for a few moments. Hands on body, if you want to keep that sense of feeling the breath, feeling the ease, kind of maintaining that awareness connection, like feeling the body from the inside, imagining the body from the upper senses, eyes, ears, feeling the body from the breath, from the hands, from the skin, from the joints. And aware of the energetic body, the emotions, the thoughts. Or the sense of awareness, sense of self. Your beingness, your essence. And almost just dropping all of that back into a sense of spaciousness. Softening that. And then gently wear fingers and toes, arms and legs. And a little movement through the fingers and hands, feet and toes. When you're ready, more movement. Bending, folding, rolling. And bringing yourself back up to sit. And feeling the length of your spine, the length of your breath. And then palms together in front of your heart. And just acknowledging how your body feels. Shifting your body and your breath and your mind. And after your next exhale, let's inhale for 1 Om. Yay.